What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Vacation Rental Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Sean Moore. We're back with my favorite episodes every single week. You get to hear me say that. My Friday interviews with short-term rental investors willing to share the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between, so you guys can listen in and walk into this short-term rental investing game with your eyes wide open. Today, two of my favorite people, Billy and Amanda Caligaris, joining us all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada. Welcome, guys.
Hi, Sean. Hi. Thank you for having us.
So excited to talk to you guys. I know I get a chance to talk to you guys on a regular basis, but this is fun that everybody can listen into our conversation about your journey into short-term rental investing. But before we start, always tell everybody the backstory, where you're from, what pays the bills, what got you interested in investing in the first place. And then we're going to talk about the couple properties you guys have and what led you down that road.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm Bill, and born and raised in Ohio, moved to Las Vegas, and been in Las Vegas since 2005, and was a paramedic for 18 years, and went into started doing construction recently.
And I'm Amanda. I'm born and raised in Las Vegas. I have a medical background as well. I'm a nurse practitioner specializing in emergency medicine. I've been doing that for 15 years now, and kind of leaning into more leadership roles. But we got started into short-term rentals because of Billy, actually, and he's the one who found Vodyssey.
Love it.
Yeah, we purchased a house, and I was going to get hit with capital gains taxes, and I'm like, there's got to be a way to get out of this. And we looked into just doing a long-term rental and wasn't going to qualify for the short-term rental loophole, and found out about the short-term rental loophole and started listening to different podcasts. And we went to Florida and looked at places, and the realtor told us, if you break even, you're doing good in the first 5 years, and you're going to be upside down the first couple years. And I was like, no, that's not the game I'm playing. And started listening to your podcast and found Vodyssey, and you guys proved me wrong.
Yeah. Proved her wrong. We proved you right, right? That's what we wanted to do.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Proved her wrong. So when was that? What year was that you guys dove in and decided we're gonna play in this game?
That was 2024. Over 4th of July weekend, we went out to Florida. We were looking for beachfront properties. And once we heard that news, we changed our strategy and had to set up a meeting with Vodyssey. And we looked at each other and decided we were going to invest into ourselves, and we dove into Vodyssey and haven't looked back.
I know it feels like you've been in the group longer than that. You guys are like OGs in the group. I feel like in 2024, that was like just yesterday. It feels, that's yeah.
A long 2 years for you.
No, it's been a fun 2 years. Not long. I love like as much as you guys did in those 2 years. That's why it feels like you've been doing it longer. So you went from Florida to ultimately, which back then and still today, a lot of people are looking at the Florida markets, and doesn't mean that you can't make it work in Florida by any stretch. But that is definitely after rates have gone up, prices went up, insurance costs were skyrocketing in Florida and have been, and they were kind of that was really kind of the tail end of a lot of the big insurance premium jumps from like 2022 to 2024. So how quickly did you pivot markets? Like, was that something that we did with a conversation with us, and that you guys started like thinking about where else you'd like to own, or like talk to me about, because the market you chose is not too far away from home and much different than the beaches of Florida. And so tell me about how we pivoted to that market.
Yeah. So I still ran the numbers in Florida, and it was actually able to make money down there with the numbers, running it through Jacob and Vodyssey, and we definitely could have still made some money. But then I decided that the amount of time that we're going to put into this with the setup, that something closer to home would probably be better for the first one. So we started looking. Amanda loves to be out on the water. She loves to boat. So I started looking at all the different lakes around us. So originally looking in Lake Havasu, the numbers just weren't penciling out. And then we started looking around Lake Powell, and that's how we ended up in Page, Arizona with our first house.
Love it. And so we pick Page, start looking for the houses. That Page is obviously, you've got outside of just Lake Powell, you've got, I mean, you guys are really close to Horseshoe Bend, which a lot of people that are at least not familiar with maybe Lake Powell, they're familiar with all the Instagram photos of Horseshoe Bend. It's a very Instagram-isk area that's, on the Colorado River there. Everybody likes the red rocks and the desert down there, but it's a market that when you chose it, right, it's not a major market. Like when you're looking at it and you were looking, it was close to home. You guys decided to go a little bit more the DIY route, where you guys really rolled up your sleeves, learned the process, learned everything, which some people just say, hey, listen, we want you to do it. And they hire the experts and they go do it. You guys learned the recipe, figured out the blueprint, and then just tapped into the resources there, which I love. And you did this on both of your properties. But so you're like, I mean, totally makes sense to have something a little closer to home, because there was more than one weekend trip, I'm sure, to Page, Arizona, right?
So we actually went under contract in September, closed on that house in November of 24. And from that first week in November when we closed, I was fortunate enough to be only working 410s in town. So I would get off on Thursday afternoon. We'd load up the truck and drive down there Thursday, get there Thursday night, and we'd work all day Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and turn around and come home. And we did that from November all the way until we launched in April. And we spent an entire week there over Thanksgiving, spent the entire week there over Christmas, just working our butts off.
But the reason why we did that is Vodyssey shifted our mindset. It went from a short-term goal of having a tax loop to a long-term goal of passing down to our children. So from the beginning, Billy looked at me and he said, take every single class within Vodyssey. And that was our first step. And we had the entire platform completed within a week. And we knew we wanted to do everything ourselves, so we did it right, and we could rinse and repeat. And our mindset changed.
What changed there? Because that's a very interesting, because a lot of people, especially this time of year, and you guys were in that same situation in 2024. It's the end of the summer. You're looking at your extensions that you filed in September and you're like, crap, I'm not doing this anymore. I've got this capital gains I want to protect, right? And we look at it as a tax play. And then for you guys, it shifted to, hey, this is a lifestyle asset, a legacy building type of a play. I'm curious, was there something that you listened to, people you were around, that changed that mindset?
Sean, that'd be you.
I knew you were going to answer that after I started asking. And then I'm like, okay, this sounds like such a douchey question to ask. But I just knowing you, I knew that's what you were going to say. I know it's not just me. There's other people, but I actually was asking that, like thinking like there's somebody else. But I appreciate you saying that. But that's not why I actually asked that. I wasn't trying to tee it up for that.
No,
we made it a family affair. It was when we would drive down, we're listening to your podcast on the way down there, and we get down there and the oldest daughter, we're like, hey, what do you think? Well, how would you help with design? How would you set this up? And it just turned into everyone was all hands on, and everyone's going to have some input in this. It's not just about us. It's about our kids too. It's about building a family legacy for it.
And at the time we had a 8-month-old.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I've said this before on the podcast many, many times, but it's one of my favorite things about this asset class is the whole family gets involved, and it is a family affair, and it is something that it's more than just a means to an end as far as an investment, right? It ends up being everybody kind of wraps their head around it, and they have their things that they love about it, things that they are contributing to it, and all the way down to the kids, right? And it's really fun to be able to have that, but also that mindset shift that does start to take place of saying, this might be something that we could, we didn't really think about this long term. This is your guys' first real estate investments, right? Did you guys have a long term before this?
We never invested in real estate until we got this.
So your first introduction into something, you were like, okay, I'm going to use it as kind of a tax play. Maybe we use it a little bit here and there. We love the water. We're going to boat. If it doesn't work out, worst case scenario, we got a second home that is kind of supplemented, right? And then it turns into man, maybe we can do this. Maybe there's other people, that we're getting introduced to, and other people that are doing this and at a high level. The kids are getting interested in it. And ultimately the mindset shifts to, maybe this is a viable option, right? To do long-term and build a legacy. And so it's really fun to hear that. I love hearing like what shifted in people's, in their minds. And sometimes it's just association, right? It's just being around different people that are doing different things. It's one of the things I love so much about our community at the Empire Club. Like that, I think that is so, I feel like it's our superpower here at Vodyssey. It's not just Sean's program anymore. This is definitely a collective, like the collective experience inside of Vodyssey, the collective knowledge base, the collective, sharing of what works and what doesn't work. It's, really is a family affair, and where it trickles down to our own individual families, but the Vodyssey family in and of itself is pretty inspirational. And that's what, I think that, I love being a part of it. I love that you guys are part of it. I love every single one of these conversations we always have, because I think we all gain so much from it. And it sounds like that is also, where that mindset starts to shift, because we're around different people doing different things. And so when you start to shift there's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of things going on. When you say, hey, listen, we're spending from Friday to Sunday every single weekend from, November all the way to April, they're not always, you don't always want to go there and set a property up every single weekend from November to April, right? I mean, it's still a lot of work, and a lot, especially, a lot of like commitment and dedication for the whole family to say, okay, let's roll up our sleeves and go get another weekend and battle toward the end goal of setting this up. So I'm sure there were some doubts creeping in, some, what in the heck did we decide to do throughout that process? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it was a lot. It put a little bit of a strain on the family. It put some strain on our relationship. I think the biggest light at the end of the tunnel was Billy and I decided going into it, we were going to stick to the plan. We were going to follow the blueprint that Vodyssey gave us. And anytime we started to shift off of that, we just had to realign. And sometimes we were in different mindsets of, let's just get the property on. It's easier if we don't landscape the backyard. And at the time we were building a rather large boat bar in our garage, and we knew that was really going to make our property stand out. And sometimes we had conversations of if we should not do the boat. And looking back, I'm very thankful that Billy and I both had our head in the game. We pushed through some of our frustrations and disagreements, and we stuck to the plan. And
it was a little difficult when the monthly mortgage starts rolling in and there's no income coming in yet. So after a couple months of that, you're like, okay, when's this going to be done? Like, we got to push and get it to the finish line, because we don't want to be paying this mortgage and not having any income.
We had a middle schooler, she was a year. She turned a year, toddler, going in toddler. And the biggest thing is that we knew aligned, we were doing this for ourselves, we were doing this for our family. And there were times that Billy had to call a timeout and say, hey, we're going to go explore the town, and we're going to learn our demographics, and we're going to change our plan for the weekend and have some family fun, which, looking back, every conversation we have with you on the AMA calls, it's all about knowing your market, from the financial aspect to it, to who's traveling there, what they want to do, to the welcome book. Know your market. And I wish I knew that a little bit stronger going into it, but it seemed like Billy knew, because he would go out and we learned the restaurants and we learned the market that was coming there. And
yeah. And what's really good is ultimately when we're both aligned on the same goal. We want to do this. We want to make sure that we're running down the road together. But then some weekends are like, Amanda's like, I'm done. I don't want to do this. And at least Billy's like, hey, listen, I'm not quite there yet. Like, let's battle through. Right. And then on the other weekends, when Billy's like, I'm not doing this anymore. Right. Amanda's got a second wind and saying, okay, no, we're going to figure this out. We're going to get to the end, finish it off and not take shortcuts, all those different things. And sometimes I'm
don't take the shortcut.
Yeah,
don't take the shortcut. It's not worth it.
Sometimes we want to, right? We want to say, hey, listen, I want to give up. And sometimes you do have to take a break, right? It's okay to say, listen, we're here for the weekend. I know we want to get this flooring done, or I know we want to build the bar or whatever it is. But you know what? We're both at our wits' end. Everybody just needs, let's just go to the restaurants. Let's do some exploring and figure out what, we'll do some research on what fun things people can come do that we can put in the guest book. And sometimes you have to have those weekends as well.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that actually helps make or break when you're self-managing. Being able to give those recommendations and say, like, from your own experience, and this is how we felt doing it, and you can give those recommendations. And we've actually developed partnerships with different places in Page that, because of going and doing the things and meeting the people, we've been able to develop that partnership and pass it along some savings to our guests.
Yeah, love it. So we get to April. No, we're right at that. Probably just missed spring break. It sounds like. Did we miss spring break on our launch year right after, or were you able to capture spring break?
No, it was just right after spring break.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about how the first year went launch wise. And then I know that we're rolling into this year and some of the challenges that were different this year versus your launch year. And so talk to me a little bit about that.
Go ahead.
Why don't you go through the numbers?
So we projected Page, doing our underwriting, we projected it at an ADR of $280 a night at a 64% occupancy. Mm-hmm. So that should have given us a total of about $65,400 on the year. From April till December 31st, we actually did $386 average daily rate at a 50% occupancy, which brought us in $71,476.
Nice. Awesome. So
we ended up netting $13,000 on it. So
awesome. That's awesome.
We saved almost $80,000 in taxes.
In taxes plus, yeah. So that's just cash flow numbers and performance numbers, and then 80 on top of that in tax savings.
And that year was only the 60% bonus depreciation. The 100% wasn't back around yet.
Oh, so you're looking at like, man, imagine what I could have got, right?
Well, we get to it this year though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. On the next property, right, that you're doing. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I appreciate you coming with the numbers. Not everybody has those numbers. And one of the number one things that we get asked on our listeners is if we'd love to hear more numbers. And so I know that our listeners are appreciative of that. So that's awesome. So projections were pretty dang close, but we did better than them. And then ultimately we rolled into year 2. And I remember having some conversations early in the year saying, holy crap, what's going on? Like the market's different. The market actually went quite down. Not a lot of markets across the board went down. Your guys' market and Page actually did take a hit of total revenue and total demand. A lot due to the really bad winter that we had out west and Lake Powell as low as it is. And a lot of people worried about that. There's still a lot of water in Lake Powell. For those people who actually go boat, they're like,
yeah.
My friends just got back. They're like, everybody's talking about it's like a puddle. It's such a huge lake. There's still a ton of water. Yeah. And then you had to make a couple adjustments, and then ultimately kind of rebounded for the year. And so talk to me a little bit about that and some of the adjustments we made going into this year.
Yeah. So I think it actually started going down in about August of last year, diving into it. And that's when we were actually maximizing our prices. And so we kind of had a bit of a fall off in August last year and had to drop our prices back down. And we stayed pretty consistent all the way up until January. And then we noticed that the bookings started slowing a little bit more, and started taking a bigger deep dive into the market. And what happened was the whole market was just coming down. So we ended up having to drop prices a little bit throughout the summer. And this year, our revenue is probably projected to be down about 15% from last year, while the entire market's down about 25 to 30%. So we're actually still climbing within our market. We're just not as well as we were last year. And I feel like you said, I think once the lake levels start to come back up and the word gets out that the launch ramps are open, since there was all the rumors saying they were going to be closed, that they're just going to make their comeback, and it'll be right back where it used to be.
But I think it just testifies what you've said. We did it right from the beginning, and now in this large decreased market, we're doing well, and we're holding strong. We're still booked. Last month we were 95% occupancy.
Yeah. That's awesome. And you're right. I mean, you're still going to get you guys are still capturing your unfair share of the market. The market actually went down a lot further than you guys had to hit because you're still capturing the top side of that market, which is really good. And that's what it takes. We need to make sure that we're there. And I totally agree with you, Billy, that it is, the narrative out here, because I live in, I'm just outside of Salt Lake City, Utah, north of Salt Lake. And that's a major market for Lake Powell, right? The greater Salt Lake area or northern Utah is a big market of people going down to Lake Powell. And the narrative was the ramps were going to be closed. Nothing's going to be open, blah, blah. Now the word's getting out like, oh, guys, there's still a lot of water down there. We went down, we had a great summer. Like we still used our houseboat. We still went and took the ski boats out and the wakeboard boats or the surfboards or whatever the hell people do now on the water. And so I used to water ski that's old school I am with boats, but it was, now they're surfing and everything. Right. So, but they're still out there and enjoying it. And now when that narrative starts to change a little bit and people realize, oh, I can still get down there, you're starting to, you still are maintaining at the top. Hopefully that revenue for the market in general comes down or comes up a little bit because a lot of the markets have still continued to set record revenue numbers on the consumer spending money. Page was a market that actually didn't, and it actually took a hit. And like you said, it was down about 25%. And so, but you're able to weather that storm because you've got a top property there and you're still high occupancy, way higher than average occupancy in that market. And then ultimately start pushing those prices again.
Yeah. And what it did, it really made us pivot our strategy and really started diving into the consumer and what hospitality looks like. We have great reviews in Page. We're, for now, we're at almost 90 plus 5-star reviews. And we just started reaching out to them. We let them check in early. We changed how we gave our guest book out. We have an interactive digital guest book that I made. And then we utilized all these strategies into Go Time Getaway. So we were doing that hospitality a little bit different right from the beginning. So really, we just looked at it as a pivot and a learning curve to know our market and to keep on the plan. This is a long-term plan and we're going to keep going.
Yeah. And you guys have done, such an amazing job of just continuing to double it down on and raising the bar for yourselves on how to operate, how to deliver, like all of those different things that you're really just becoming professionals at, on that, like on a game that we didn't even think about 3 years ago. Now all of a sudden you're like right at the top of the game in whatever market you're going to choose to go into, which is, let's talk about market number 2 and how that came about, because that's a complete 180 on this market. And so, which I love, but let's talk about, you mentioned Go Time Getaway. So talk to me a little bit about the pivot into property number 2, but even I would love to even hear the goals, how the goal changed, right? Because I know now the goal is different than what it was in the beginning, which is just to get a nice tax savings on some capital gains that we had to pay. And now like you mentioned before, it's more of a legacy building play. And so, and you guys are like, you're all in on this. You're saying, hey, listen, we're betting on ourselves, which I love, by the way. It's like, it's like, in my world, I say you're going full cowboy, right? It's like we're going all in. We're jumping on that horse and we're riding, right? And so it's which I love.
Yeah, not to throw Billy on the spot, but our growth mindset really hit effect. We decided to get married, and he even wore his Vodyssey hat in our wedding. And so we are awesome. All in. So Paige and Vodyssey has really been the start for a lot of our growth individually and as a couple. And, we have Vodyssey to thank for a lot of that. I think these entrepreneurship, creativity was in us. It just really came out. And I saw that in him and his dedication to our kids. And I was like, we're going all in. And we got hitched, got married, and then shipped him off to Louisiana a week later to do Go Time Getaway. And let you tell how we
there was no
it.
ties to Louisiana though, right? Like there's not
No.
like we were we were exploring game day properties in Vodyssey and talking about it, and you guys were like, "Hey, let's go find one." Right?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Same with Paige. Billy just looks on a map and just dives in and start running numbers.
I've heard you talk about all the game day properties, and after everything that we learned in Paige, I was like, I love college football. I'm passionate about college football. So let's look into different areas and different bigger schools and kind of go from there. And thank goodness for AI and pulling up the top 20 schools that over the last 20 years in college football attendance, and started writing and checking off markets and seeing how they were going to perform. And I got to LSU and I was like, I've always liked LSU. There's something about that area that I just kind of like. And it was a toss-up between there, Knoxville in Tennessee, and Athens, Georgia. And I started thinking about it, and Mike Whitfield popped into my head. And I'm like, okay, well, how am I going to be able to design this? And I'm like, the color palette of LSU is there. It's hard. It's hard to run with the red and black of Georgia and the orange and white of Tennessee. So let's just go ahead and go with those bright, bold colors, and we're going to Baton Rouge. We're doing it.
And man, we love ourselves some Tiger fans. They're fun.
Yeah. you guys are so I like one of these days, and I don't know if this will ever happen, Billy, but are you ever going to ditch the Ohio State shirts and start putting on Tiger shirts, or is it just when you're visiting Louisiana? Are they wearing on you a little bit?
They definitely are wearing on us, and I'll tell you, the hype Lane Kiffin coming in this year and the amount of NIL money they're spending on their team, it's kind of got me hyped up for LSU this year.
Yeah, that's it's fun. That's going to become the hometown, because now you own the property there, and that's going to be who you're rooting for. I can feel it.
Yeah.
So
go ahead, Sean. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, so Billy went out there. We decided we were going to do the DIY again, and now we wanted to take our property up another level. Billy actually drove out to Louisiana for 2 months.
Yeah.
2 months, and repainted it, put in, the purple in the kitchen. We ordered our artwork through Mike, had it shipped out there, and then I flew out and did a 72-hour stage photo.
All the lifestyle photos, and it's when you guys that listen, that we always post, if you're regulars, we post these properties in the show notes, and we post so you can dissect them, go check them out. If you're in the area, I always suggest staying at them. This is a full-blown game day property, fully immersive LSU Tiger experience, and it's to the point where you guys are telling the story through Mike the Tiger's eyes, and and where you even respond as if you're staying in Mike's Mike's den, right? And so
yeah.
It's a really, really fun property. In fact, one of the struggles, I'll let you guys tell the struggle. What was people didn't believe it was true, right, in the very beginning.
Yes, we got multiple inquiries when we first launched the property asking if the property was AI. And
it was to the point where we ended up even changing our cover photo, because to get one that wasn't so perfect and dialed in that market, nobody's seen anything like it. Even the model homes are few and far between in that market. There's a lot of poorly operated STRs in that area. Yeah. And we're coming in and trying to raise the bar. So we had to lower our bar for people to realize that it's real. And then after we got our first couple of reviews, we were able to go ahead and switch the pictures back around to the way we wanted it. And now it's just, we're getting comments like crazy. It's the reviews that we get, it's insane. Most of the time people are getting reviews, it's a couple sentences. We're getting paragraphs.
Yeah. And they're all, and it was I was so grateful and thankful for those first couple reviews that came in and said, guys, this is exactly like it looks in the pictures. Like this is real. Like this is not fake. And you got those, and that was the biggest question mark. It was funny. Yeah, you're right. I remember in the beginning, we're like, man, this looks awesome. Like we completely raised the bar. We kicked it, like knocked it out of the park with this game day immersive experience, but nobody was booking it, and everybody's inquiring about it, but we weren't getting a bunch of bookings right out of the gate because everybody's worried that it was just fake and AI. And then when you got those reviews coming in fact, you had to, like you said, you had to make the listing actually worse a little bit to where it was a little more believable to the consumer, because there's that trust recession out there, and they want to know that this is real, and you don't have any reviews saying that. Finally, you got those reviews, you turned it on, and it's been a pretty wild ride with that one since you launched, right? So talk to me about that launch.
Yeah, and Sean, we just followed your process. We didn't ask any of the guests to do anything differently than what we normally do. We gave the same high-end hospitality that every guest deserves and what we give to Paige, and they responded well to it. Since the launch, Paige was getting 1 to 5 bookings a day. At Go Time, we started getting 1 to 2 a week. And once we hit those reviews, it just started skyrocketing. We ended up going, Billy actually came up with the idea of doing a giveaway. Do you want to?
Go ahead.
So we're actually raffling off a 2-night stay at our property with 4 game day tickets just to get our place out to LSU fans. We think this is an exciting experience for them to make the ultimate game day, and we wanted to share that experience with one lucky winner, and that's been very well received by the community as well.
Our listeners can still get in on that, right? It's next week. Is it next week, the drawing? So this comes out like we always, or like this week, they can still go in. They got 1 week left. Is it September 4th? Am I remembering the dates right?
That's correct.
September 4th is the drawing deadline, and we're going to do the drawing on September 5th of opening week.
That's awesome. So if you're listening, go check out the property. Go how do they got to go to your Instagram. We'll put that in the show notes as well, right? Is that where they go to get, is that the best place to go to the website?
www.gotimegetaway.com.
Yeah. So those of you listening, we're going to put that in the show notes. Go check out that. And if you want to go to a LSU game, SEC football at its finest, go check it out. So yeah, promo, right? We can might as well, let's try to get a few people in that, but you tried something new that we were talking about in marketing. We haven't seen anybody do yet. And we're like, hey man, it'd be really fun to see a case study of that, of how that's working, how you can build that list. And it has been awesome from a list building standpoint, and bringing those leads in at pennies on the dollar compared to usually a couple dollars, right, that we're normally paying. And so that's been really fun watching.
Amanda's actually got some numbers if you'd like to hear them.
Yeah, I'd love them, because we talk a lot about direct bookings. We talk a lot about lead generation. This has been something that you guys have, really pioneered, and we're like watching from the sidelines saying, man, this is really exciting, taking notes and trying to implement a lot of the things you guys are doing. So let's hear the numbers on that. And just so you guys listening are aware, normally our KPIs, which stands for key performance indicators, when we're running ads and we're paying for leads, we're looking for leads in that $2 to $3 a lead range. And that usually is going to be a good campaign for us. So just to kind of set that expectation as you share some of these numbers.
Yeah. So in the last 30 days, we've had over 70,000 impressions on our leads. We're at a KPI of 13 cents a lead, getting 3 to 5 quote requests a week. And we still got more to go.
Yeah,
we're awesome. Hitting almost 3,000. We've gotten almost 3,000 leads in the last 30 days, and we're up to about almost 5,000 leads since we've launched the giveaway.
At 13 cents average. That's like, if you guys, anybody that's listening that has run paid ads, that is a massively successful campaign on the front end. And now it's saying, how do we capitalize on the back end? Because some of these properties happen to be booked on most of the times that a lot of people are asking for dates to stay. And so that can be, sometimes that's a frustration, but you're building a list of people that you're going to be able to send those newsletters to, stay top of mind with, and ultimately fill those calendars. But 5,000 people for 13 cents a person, that's a massively successful campaign.
And what's so fun about it, Sean, is the community loves this property, and the Tiger fans are going wild. And it's so fun to be a part and participate in a community that is so passionate. We thought majority of our bookings would come from game days or people going to LSU families. LSU hosts camps for gymnastics and baseball. So we're having families, which is not our target audience for Paige. That's who we are when we travel, and that's who we welcome. We're getting kids who are just excited and putting it on their bucket list to go to LSU. And so it's been really fun to be a part of a community that gives back. And we love to be a part of that as well.
Yeah.
We're having baseball teams come in for tournaments from all over the country. And one of my favorite reviews, she actually gave us a private note and wrote how awesome our place was. But she was like, I'm not even an LSU fan. I'm a Clemson fan, and I still love this place. So it just kind of goes to show you, like, you can appeal to other people as well with just having that experience.
It's so true. And some of the things that one of the biggest objections I get for when I talk about in our community and in our group of the game day properties, they're like, well, aren't you limiting it just to those fans? And one, if you are, who cares? Because it's an awesome immersive experience. But the true answer is always no, you're not. You're an extension of what they're coming to the area for. Like LSU is a major part of Baton Rouge, right? And they're usually coming in, like you said, for a camp, or not always just the game days, right? We call them game day properties, but the bulk of your business is outside of those 7 home games or the 8 home games that you've got, right? And while those are amazing profit generating weekends, that it's all the other people coming in, and it could be a Clemson fan. I mean, it could be another, even an Alabama fan. They won't admit it, but they might come in and say, hey, this is pretty fun to be immersed into the experience. Like, and you're an extension of the area. And that's what you're trying to do when we put together these types of properties. And you guys have leaned all in on that. And one, I'm so proud of you for the execution. It's very difficult to execute. I think that, when you spent all those weekends in Page, Billy goes out there for 2 months in Baton Rouge, and you, Amanda, go out there for a crash 72-hour lifestyle photo shoot, and it turns out beautifully. There's a lot of dedication that comes to that, just to execute and to execute and not cut the corners. It's so fun to see from the outside looking in, from my viewpoint of just, it's like I'm a proud father, it's like, this is so awesome. That we're so proud of you. Right. And it's like, it's fun to watch. And then it's fun to watch because while you're doing it, just like Billy mentioned before, there's times where you're like, okay, the mortgage is due. We don't have any revenue coming in. All the money's going out with all the renovations and the furnishings and the artwork and everything else. And you're like, man, this is just, when is this going to stop? And then it does stop, and the good stuff starts happening. And it's a pretty fun thing to start to see those calendars fill up and those big weekends fill up. And then the reward of people private messaging you and giving those reviews to say, hey, you did a great job. Right. And it's a lot of validation and pats on the back and that's what you want for those guests. And you want them to have that amazing experience. But when you start to see all of that coming in, it's a lot of fun. And, I can't wait to see what the next one's going to be like. But right now you're having fun being LSU Tiger fans.
We're having a blast. Yeah, but you're right. We don't have enough calendar space for the LSU fan. And it just goes to show that following the Vodyssey process works. And, for anyone listening, you can do it as a couple and survive, and you can do it with kids. Yeah.
And everybody gets involved. And like, it doesn't mean everybody's going to have a good day all the time. Right. And that's okay. Right. It's like we know that we're going to have, those hard times. And what you want to be is, for your partner and your spouse, you as a parent, you want to be the person that when somebody else is having a bad day, let's not all have a bad day at the same time. Let's all have a good day. You have a bad day, I'll pick you up when you need to be picked up. And then hopefully you return the favor when I'm having a bad day. And that's what it's about. Right. And that's what it's, that's anything in life, but it is when you're running down this road, there's going to be some of those hard days, and you're going to survive it. It'll be fine. And if you're not, call me, and I'll be a counselor as much as I can. Right. So so as we will wrap up our conversation, but this is so fun watching this. But Billy, I know you had numbers on Page. Do you have numbers on Baton Rouge? I'd love to hear the numbers before we wrap up on how and I know we're just into the launch, but I know that there's some performance numbers there.
Yeah, so we've got, we underwrote it to be at 346 of ADR at 47%, and it would pull in about $59,000 in the year. So far, April till today, we are at 305 ADR at 46%. Now, I kind of want to put this out here because it sounds a little low, but we have not hit our game day weekends yet. Yeah. Once those game day weekends hit, that ADR is going to skyrocket because we're booked out on average about $1,200 a night for those game day weekends. So it's going to come up, but from our numbers now, kind of projecting it, we should be projecting it about $20,000 of cash flow, and it should be about an 18.6% cash on cash return at this place.
That's awesome. Congrats. That's going to be great. And you're right. You haven't hit that the peak season, which is fall and the game day, and the better the Tigers do, the more money those tickets and those nights sell for. So and I know that the strategy for those is too, you guys are keeping those prices pretty dang elevated right now, knowing that those they book out a little bit closer when they come in. So, and you've already, how many of you have you booked out half of the home games yet? About how many of the home games?
We have 2 game days left.
Okay. So you've got only a few game days left. Oh, you're saying, Billy, not that they haven't booked, that they haven't happened yet. Yeah.
They haven't happened. So there's always a chance.
So you're giving us actuals, not just what's on the books.
Chickens before they had.
Gotcha. I like that. I appreciate that. That's always good. Let's only talk about the money that hit our bank account. And you're right. Like those have not hit the bank account yet, but we only have 2 left. So you got some nice revenue coming in the next couple months.
And honestly, if they cancel, I think I can get an even higher rate on them now because some of those were booking when we first launched at a lower rate. So we're not even to the maximized phase yet. I think come next year, we'll be talking a lot more numbers.
That's awesome.
But right now we're on track for top 10% of the market.
Well, we're still on track to be like 1%.
All right, that's awesome. Well, and this will be a 1% property. Like our 1% club, we're pretty dialed in, and I guarantee. Like I don't like to guarantee stuff, so I'll say I'll put a big bet on the table that by this time next year, this is a 1% property. After we have that full calendar year under our belt, for sure. Knowing that market. What's that?
You know how I feel about your benchmarks.
I know, right? You just it's like a gauntlet. I throw down a gauntlet on benchmarks with you, right? Then you're like, okay, that's the challenge, Sean.
Amanda didn't show up this day. Let me throw something out there.
Right, exactly. That's all I have to do. I just have to be like, I think you could do this. I don't know though, but you should. And then all of a sudden Amanda's like, challenge accepted, done.
Yeah.
Right. I love it. Okay, as we wrap up, one question for both of you. Both have to answer it. If you could do something different, what would it be? Or if you have some advice, I'll let you do the advice too. If you had some advice that you want to give your younger self, what would it be? Either one of those comes to mind.
Mine kind of touched both. I would say don't do today. Oh, whoa, I messed that up. Don't do tomorrow what you can do today. Yeah. When it comes time to set up and life gets hectic and you have kids running around and you're trying to get everything done, it gets busy. And if you can do it today, knock it out and keep moving forward and bulldoze through and keep your eye on the prize. Don't wait. Get it done, because there's going to be a new task to level up. And I'm so thankful looking back that we just stuck to that plan and pushed through instead of showing up to the house and needing to, make the cups or make the signs. Like there's little things you can do ahead of time. So do it today, stick to your plan and push.
Love it.
And then I'd have to give a little nod to Teresa. I know I told you while we were in Tampa, but it's your priorities. We all have that same 24 hours in a day. So no excuse if it's something that you want. It's just not a priority to you. So make the things your priorities. And I had to tell myself that when I was in Louisiana working on this house, and I was 16, 18-hour days, and I stopped to sit down and turn on the TV, and I go, wait a second, this TV's not a priority. Let's get this place done.
Love it. I love that both of you are kind of a version of the same advice. I mean, it's really just saying, hey, listen, don't put it off. And, Billy's nodding to my wife, Teresa. I used to say I was too busy, right? And I'd say, I'm too busy for that. I don't have time for that. She said, listen, don't tell me you're too busy. Don't tell me you don't have time. Just be honest with me and say it's not a priority for me. And it's a lot harder to say stuff's not a priority when you're saying you're too busy for something that should be, or you feel like is a priority. It really wakes you up, right? It really says, okay, you're right. This is, when you replace I'm too busy with it's not a priority, sometimes that stings a little bit, because sometimes we say I'm too busy maybe I'm too busy to go play catch with my kid. Maybe I'm too busy for what I say is important in my life, whatever it is. And if I say that's not a priority, well, that stings sometimes when you replace that phrase with I'm too busy. And so, I had to learn that lesson from Teresa as well, Billy. So that's, I'm glad that it resonated with you guys as well, but it's the same. I love it. It's just saying, hey, listen, if we say something is important, if we say we want to do something, do it today. Like, move forward. Like, don't put it off. If you can do it today, do it today. Don't say I'm going to get to it tomorrow. I'm going to get to it tomorrow. That pit of procrastination that we all fall into at times. And we always can think of things why we don't want to do it today and why we want to do it tomorrow. But who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? If you can do it today, do it today, and make it a priority if you say it's important. And it's okay if it's not, but be honest with yourself if it's not, right? And that's what, like what you're saying, Billy, is like, just if you can look yourself in the mirror and say, it's not a priority and I'm okay with it not being a priority, that's perfectly fine. But don't tell me it's a priority and then tell me you're too busy to do something about it, right? That doesn't fit both ways. And so I'm glad that you guys are jiving with that as well, as much as I am. So,
and your kids see it. They see it.
You're so right. You're so right. As parents, you don't realize how much your kids watch. And if you doubt yourself, they doubt themselves. If you believe in yourself and you do hard things, they believe they can too. They look at us as such an example, whether they say it or don't say it. They notice the things that we're going to do, the things that we're willing to take chances on, the things that we're willing to push through. And then they look and say, not only are they proud of us for it and they look up to us for it, but they also believe they can do it. And that's one of the funnest things about watching kids grow up and being a parent and one of the hardest things too, because if I start to doubt myself and I start to make excuses, they will too. Right. And so that's one of I always try to remind myself of that. What you just mentioned, Amanda, is they're seeing it and they're loving us for it, regardless of what we do, but they're so proud of us when we do hard things. But we also instill that same confidence into them, because if we can do hard things and we do the things that maybe are, seem insurmountable at times, or we are committed to certain things and we have discipline toward things, they will too. And that's what we like as a parent. We all want that for our kids. We want them to have the most confidence. We want them to take the chances. We want them to, step up and actually have the, I want to say the guts to do it, but it's really just the confidence to go move forward. If we don't have that in our own selves, how do we expect kids to do it? And I love that part of it as well. This has been awesome.
Both of our kids can quote you. Huh? Both of our kids can quote you. Our 1-year-old was singing Sean's song every day, driving home from Page. So
she had to listen to me in a lot of road trips. I talked about the cows. I felt like I had to send her a cow just to apologize for all the time she had to listen to me in the car. So one of these days she get older and I'm going to have to, I'm going to owe her a Sunday or something because she had to listen to me way too much.
I think I just heard an invite to come to your house and see the cows in person.
Anytime. You guys know you've got an open invite. So anytime you're up here,
be careful what you ask for.
No, that is absolutely an open invitation. So, guys, I appreciate it. It's been a fun conversation. Those of you listening, we know how valuable your time is. We hope you got as much out of this as I always do. I know you do because I hear it in the comments, but we appreciate you spending your time with us. We know it is valuable. If you got any value out of this and you did, and it is helping you walk into this game with your eyes wide open, and you know somebody else that would get value out of it, share the show. Those things help us. You didn't have to listen to any ads. You didn't have to listen to any pauses and sponsorships. The only way the show grows is organically if you guys share it. And if you don't have anybody to share it with, those algorithms are really smart. And so if you like it or review it on whatever platform you're watching or listening on, that algorithm will put it in front of other people just like you. But the final, most important thing I ask you at the end of every episode, and it goes right along with the things that we're talking about, is to pick that one thing, just one thing that you can do today, start building that life you don't want to take a vacation from. Cheers, my friends.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Vacation Rental Revolution podcast. Share this with other people you think need to hear about it. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Hey Grace, is there a website?
Yes! For more amazing content and expert advice, visit Vodyssey.com.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.